All right, now this is the second half of the question, and it refers to this table here that we have on the right, or I should say graph. Now, these graphs are a little bit hard to read, but they're not too bad. They're showing you on the x-axis the temperature of the solution. Over here on the y-axis, it's showing you the solubility in grams per 100 grams of water. Excuse me. So it's showing how much of these things, all right, how much of these solutes they can hold at specific temperatures. All right, makes sense? So for instance, let's look right here at barium hydroxide. That's what that's called. If we had a solution of it at 70 degrees Celsius, it could hold roughly, come on, 55 grams per every 100 grams of water. That's how we read this table. All right, so let me erase all this garbage. All right, now, let's read these questions. What substance's solubility is least affected by changes of temperature? All right, least affected would be the one with the lowest slope, or I should say the slope closest to 1. Sorry, 1, I'm a moron. To 0. All right, so it's the flattest line. We look in here, steep, 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 not very steep, but even less steep. There is NaCl. That is salt. So it turns out that salt is not that affected when I increase the temperature or decrease the temperature. Its range is from right here at 35, just barely to 40, from 0 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius. And that's a lot of the reason why your lab yesterday took a long time. No matter what we do as far as heating water, it just doesn't hold very much salt. All right. Number 13, what substances show a decrease in solubility with increasing temperature? All right, so we're looking for something with a negative slope. There are 2 of them, and you can name either of the 2. I don't care. You can put both, too. So YB, 2, SO4, 3, and Ce2, SO4, 3. That looks like a 9, but I promise it's a 4. All right, so if it's a decrease, it would be a negative slope. Okay, what substance's solubility is most affected? So this is the opposite of 12. Instead of the flattest, where we're looking for the steepest. And overall, barium hydroxide. Okay, now what, 15, what is the concentration of KCl at 50 degrees Celsius? All right, so KCl is right here. It's this line that travels straight through there. That's terrible. Let's erase all this first so we can see better. All right, so I'm not going to try and trace it. That was a disaster. All right, it wants to know what temperature does the solubility, 15, what is the concentration of KCl at 50? So here's 50. I just find where the 2 of them intersect, that KCl line in 50, and it is at 40-ish, right? Maybe 42. Now, some people on the test, they read it backwards. They would find the 50 over here, and they would say that it was 70. Be careful not to read it backwards. All right, 16. At what temperature does the solubility of KNO3 exceed KCl? Talk with your lab partner and tell me, here's KCl, tell me that answer. You only have 10 seconds. All right, to answer that, we find where they intersect. It starts to pass it up at about 35 degrees. All right, now I'm going to run out of time. Why don't you go ahead and try to do these on your own?